to see if there's anything else that takes your fancy in the future. And so just a little bit about Kickstart. I'm sure that you've heard about it and you may know a bit about it or not too much. But Kickstart is a government fund to help businesses create jobs, to pay for the jobs that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. So we all know that this is a very, very strange and unusual time for us all. And one of the things that has happened and will last for a number of months into the future is that obviously there'll be job losses, and quite often young people who, just because of their age, haven't got quite the work history that an older person has got. Young people can be even more disadvantaged at this time in terms of being chosen for a job. So you're up against people who've got 20 years work experience. That's not your fault. If you're only 20, how can you have 20 years work experience? So Kickstart is therefore only for young people who are up to the age of 24. Okay, so you've got to be between 16 and 24 to be eligible. That's the first thing. So if anybody's joined the call and you're 25, I'm really sorry, unless you're an employer and you're not here to apply, you won't be eligible for these jobs. But we would still like to know who you are, because there's other things that we might be able to hook you up with and tell you about. So if that does apply to you, we'd still like to know who you are. So please stay. Obviously, you don't have to. So it's for 16 to 24-year-olds. And the other key thing is that you must be claiming universal credit. You must be in that system and you must not be earning anything. So if you're on universal credit and you've got a job for a couple of hours somewhere and you've got some earnings, as far as we know, you probably won't be eligible, but our Job Centre Plus colleagues will clarify anything like that for you if you get that far. Okay, and what all you do basically is speak to your work coach, your advisor, your point of contact in Job Centre Plus, and say, I want to have a referral to this job. And again, we've got some of those staff here on the call, and they've only come on the call because they also want to know more about these jobs, and they also want to tell more young people about these jobs. So they're not here for any other reason. They're not here to check anybody or anything like that. This meeting is about you and those employers. Okay. So what we thought we'd do, the way we'd do this is we've got 8 employers today, and between them they've got a number of jobs. We've got 3 other employers, so we've got 11 in total at the moment, but 3 of them just couldn't make today. So I'm just going to run through those other 3 employers and the jobs for you anyway, so you know what they are. And we can put the link to our website in the chat if you've not already seen it, but you can go on our website and you can see all the jobs on there anyway. Okay, but for today, it's those 8 employers. And what we'll do is we'll meet 4 of them first, and they know which order. In the sidebar, if you can see the chat, you can see that anyway. So we'll have 4, one after the other, and they'll each have a couple of minutes to just say who they are, what their company is, what the job is. Okay, and we'll just go like a quick fire through the 4, and then we'll have a little pause, and you might have questions about the jobs and things like that. So then we'll pick those up, and then we'll do the next 4. Okay, does that sound? That's the plan anyway. Okay, so the 4 employers, that's Andrea, Heather, Debbie, and Catherine. If you unmute yourselves, if everybody else stays as you are. And I think Adam was going to spotlight the 4 of you, but I don't quite know how that works. So let's start with Andrea anyway. Do you want to kick us off and tell us about yourself and your job?
Hello, thank you. Bit nervous now, a lot of people on Zoom. Well, thank you to Adam, Tracy and the team for this opportunity, for for being able to employ someone, because it's a new thing for Bee for Biodiversity. So yeah, thank you for that. Brilliant start. I'll just say a little bit about me. I'm an artist and landscape architect, and I finished university and I set up Bee for Biodiversity in 2013 in response that there were no jobs out there. So I just thought, well, I'll just have to make my own. I'll do this. And since then, I've kind of, work has been steady and has been it's increased quite a lot over the last few years. So this is why, getting another person for the company it would be absolutely brilliant. The purpose of Bee for Biodiversity is to raise awareness of nature, local nature, urban nature, why it's important to communities, to individuals, to schools. And I do this through doing and making activities. So the kind of ones I've done in the past are food growing, wildflower seed meadows, tree planting, and one of the most successful ones I found is beekeeping. I think I must have taught in the last 3 or 4 years about 250 individuals all around the country, mostly in Liverpool, taught them beekeeping. And on the back of that, I've collected lots of wax and I spin a little bit of honey off, not too much. And I've developed some beeswax products. So balms, candles, what else have I got? Other things, wax melts and things like that. And that's kind of really taken off. I only started selling them last November, December. It was really, really taken off. And I work alongside good colleague and friend of mine called Ali, and she runs the Gateway community, the Gateway Collective, sorry, in Bootle. And a lot of my work is based up in Bootle. So me and Ali, there's a lot of crossovers in the stuff that we do. She does a lot of food growing, and I do a lot of the beekeeping and nature things. So we kind of like dovetail each other with the work that we do and the services that we provide. And it's only been recently that we've launched a project called Made in Bootle. And it was thanks to Make at Liverpool at the docks. They funded us with £1,000 to kickstart that happening. So that and this has been really, really good to set this up, because there's been a need to showcase Bootle, independent makers, growers, people provide services. So a platform really to kind of sell their service and sell their wares. We've had a lot of interest already, so hence applying for this and thinking, well, me and Ali, we can't manage this. So if we have someone to work with us and to develop this. So what that would be is to create a kind of online presence at first to showcase Made in Bootle and collect kind of data and information, all that paperwork and admin side of local independence in Bootle and South Sefton. It's not kind of restricted to Bootle, but South Sefton. And creating an online shop. So Ali sells jams, chutneys, and kind of all kind of lovely things like that. And mine will be the beeswax products. So kickstarting the online shop with that. And then as the project develops, then we can kind of sell other things like coffee. There's a coffee maker in Bootle, and I think there's someone who makes zines or zines, that sort of thing. So collecting all them. We'd like this person as well to be involved in markets. So I run markets up in a community garden in Ford in Litherland, and Ali Gateway at North Park in Bootle. So developed, working in kind of with that really. All training will be given. So from the Gateway side, it would be the food growing, the horticulture and making the jams and the chutneys and that sort of thing. From my side, I'll train you up to do beekeeping, to learn about beekeeping and bees in general, the nature sort of side, making balms, spinning honey, harvesting honey, and all that kind of all of that thing really that I do. It's a 3 days a week and post. So that would be, Ali and I have spoken about this. So one day will be with me. So whether that's going to be, depends on lockdown. I don't know how things are going to go, and when the post is going to be ready as well. So that's either going to be my studio. Now my studio is not in Bootle, it's in Toxteth. And so my studio there is to do all the bee related things. One day with Gateway Collective, which would be in North Park in Bootle. and then 1 day of home kind of work and CPD, because I'd want to encourage this person to develop the skills that they're learning. Hopefully they like, learning about bees and horticulture and making things, products and things. So developing that and really nurturing that person as a kind of, to give something back to that person, really. So I think that's kind of all of what I've said. I don't know, Tracy, I know you said you were a week behind on this, so I just wanted to check with you when the start date is. That going to be 19th of February now?
So we've got till the end of next week to apply for all of these jobs. So
okay.
Yeah, we're looking at around the 12th, so people need to get a wriggle on.
All right, but
that's brilliant.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we'll cover off all that kind of stuff as well, so people are dead clear. So next we've got Heather, and if you want to unmute yourself and tell us all about Open Awards.
Okay, thanks, Tracy. So I'm Heather. I'm 24, so I'm allowed on the call, and I have been for about 24 years now, so that's good. And this is Dolly, who works increasingly with me while I'm at home. So Open Awards is, to give it its posh title, we're an awarding organisation and an access validating agency. Basically, what that means is that we design qualifications. So all those horrible exams that you've had to sit and you don't like, and NVQs, then people like Open Awards are responsible for those. So if you kind of think City and Guilds, but smaller, prettier, more local, that's the sort of thing we do. Although we also do a lot of work on the apprenticeship side as well. So we're looking for somebody to help us with our data analysis, which I think sounds quite boring, really, but it isn't. So you don't have to be fab on Office and all sorts of weird packages, because we have our own in-house systems that we have to use, because they link with Ofqual and they link with all sort of Department for Education. So there'd obviously be full training on that. But what we're really after is people who like doing a bit of investigation and a bit of detective work, really, and using the kind of raw data. So some of it is the bog standard stuff that Department for Education and apprenticeship people like to know occasionally. So how many women are doing health and social care, how many women are doing land-based, all those sorts of things. But what we actually want to know is which of the courses people are staying on, when are they dropping off, why are they dropping off, which are the most popular units. So we have a massive employability qualification and people can pick things. So we're really after somebody who's interested in taking the stats and doing the digging behind it, really. So as I've said, there'll be full training on our in-house systems. We're all working remotely at the moment. So I should say we work internationally. There's a full team of about 40 people spread all over the country. So we're quite used to all working remotely. And then there's about another 150, 250 people that do various bits for us at the different times in the year. So our main office is in Speak, and we would be looking to start the induction in Speak. But we are looking for somebody who thinks they're going to be able to sit in the comfort of their own home and predominantly work remotely. So obviously we'd supply you with the kit and equipment. You'd be part of the family that, all the time that you were with us. So we have like regular staff meetings, we have lots of training that we encourage people to do. All that would be available to you. We have lots of meetings that we all attend, and again, if you were interested in that sort of side of things, then we'd be happy for people to jump on and shadow those. And we are growing because we are expanding, which I can't tell you, but we're adding something else to what we do. So we are a growing organisation. So we do hope that if we got somebody that we loved and loved us, that there'd be some link at the end of it. And I think that's me.
Fantastic, Heather. Thank you. So 2 very different jobs and very different companies. And actually, Debbie's not here with us yet, so I'm going to just move on to Catherine. If that's all right, if you want to go next.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Tracy, and thanks to you and to everybody here for having us all. As the others have said too, it's a real pleasure to be here, and we're absolutely delighted to be able to participate in this this event and the full programme as well. So my name's Catherine Manning, and I'm the leader of an organisation called Social Value UK. We're first and foremost, we're a membership organisation, and we're a membership organisation for people who are interested in social value or social impact, which can probably making people say, well, what on earth is social value? What are these things? These are the kinds of questions that we answer on a sort of daily basis. So, we're basically a network of people across the whole country who are all interested in changing the way that we account for value. And changing what it is that we're accountable for. So moving away from just being accountable for financial value, but being accountable for what all of our activities do to people's lives and to the planet. We're doing that because we think that at the moment what we're doing is really the decisions that are being made are causing huge amounts of environmental harm and a massive amount of inequality. And there's been a huge detrimental impacts on all of our well-being and how we are day to day, basically. And I know these are all big challenges that we've been faced with a lot before the last crazy year that we've all been living through, but it's something that's been massively accentuated throughout the current crisis. And so, yeah, we're a big network of people from all sectors and all parts of the country. We're all fighting for social change, but in a way that perhaps isn't right at the forefront of the real social justice movements, because we're looking at accounting. What is it that we actually put into our accounts and that we're methodically accountable for and using for decision making going forward? So that's what we're doing. So as a part of that, we run a lot of different activities, so membership type activities, events, webinars. We write lots of blogs and resources and share information and try and learn together, basically. But we're also a training organisation, so we run a lot of training courses, and we're an assurance and accreditation body. So we work with people who are wanting to become qualified social impact analysts or things like that. We're part of an international network, so I suppose some of like Heather said for her organisation, we do also work internationally, so we're part of a global movement for change. So there's lots of interesting and exciting work that people are doing across the world that we're also sort of keyed into. I suppose because, well, not just because of, but during this crazy year that we've all been through and sort of seeing all of the challenges that have been accentuated during this time, there's a growing recognition of the need for change. And there's been growing interest in Social Value UK here in the UK and Social Value International and all of the networks around the globe as well. So as a part of that, our membership is growing and our team is growing. I suppose other practical things in there, we had to change as well during this time, like everybody else, and moved all of our activities and operations online. So we're working from home, but also all of our engagement and ways of being able to talk and communicate and work with people is all online, which sort of leads to the job itself, which is snappily titled Digital Marketing, Communications and Events Assistant. So it's sort of a support for all of those different areas that we that we work in and work with our members in. And the job would be working really closely with our communications and campaigns manager and with our membership manager and sort of supporting in all of those different areas. So people who have got some digital skills and interested in using different digital platforms, some creativity around marketing materials, making accounting fun. That's our big challenge. Events, so planning and running events and talking to people, all good things. And real interest in social media. I think, well, as everybody here would probably know, there's a lot more going on and communication happening through social media, and that's something that we definitely need some skills and help with. I suppose other sort of practical things about the job. Like I said, we are all working from home at this point in time. We do have an office based in Liverpool, so when we can go back in, we will. But there are members of the team that are around the country and other people internationally as well. And it's a sort of our version of full time, so 35 hours a week. I think that's all of my. I'll stop there, and then if there's questions.
Thanks, Catherine.
Okay.
Thanks. And that was brilliant. And what I should have said was that every job that you'll hear about will at least be for 25 hours a week. I think most of them are about 25 hours a week, but some employers, so Catherine's just said there, they've decided to make theirs full time. So just listen out for that as well, if that makes a difference for you. And again, just check with us, and the details are on the website, on our Transform Lives website, if you want to check. Now, Debbie couldn't make it, but what I didn't realise was that a colleague is here in her place, so I need to bring her in. Is it Jael? Jael?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to talk to us about the greenhouse project?
Sure. So Debbie's not here because I'm the manager of the early years, and that's the first job that we're advertising, but the greenhouse project is going to advertise for more positions as well. The greenhouse project is a charity organization based in Toxted, and we work for the community and with the community. So our mission is to make a more independent and cohesive community around this area. The greenhouse project is involved in a development project in the Tiberside area. So that includes that the greenhouse project has its own offices, but also we have the football pitch, a forest school, and more to come at some point over the years. And the first job that we're advertising is for early years apprentice. The reason is that every year we get an apprentice, but because of the situation, we haven't been able to advertise as usual. So it's really great to get through this program. And we are a learning organization. So whenever someone comes here, we also support them in their development and how they will better benefit from the organization as well. As an example, we had an apprentice 2 years ago, and now he passed to be part of the early years team, and he will become the forest school manager because we put time and effort on his skills and his development. So it's a big community, and we do want to work together, but we want the best for everyone that puts something in, but also for you to take from us. So yeah, we're very supportive in that way, and the setting is not like any other because of the customers that we have. The children are very different. Mostly, I think 90% of our children don't speak English as a first language. So it's very challenging, but also very rewarding and very, very nice to work there. You feel happy about what you do. And we tend to work together with all the projects. So the Greenhouse Project have different projects with the football pitch and after school club and the staying group with young people. So we also find ourselves in which project we will be fit better with the time, which is very good for everybody as well. And that's a big picture.
Fantastic, thank you so much. So you can see sort of two companies that have got a sort of environmental creativity side, and you've got Open Awards, which is all about qualifications, but all of the sort of data analysis, so numbers, somebody who likes of number crunching, and Catherine's job, which is all about measuring the social contribution or value of work that is happening up and down, well, even across the world. So you could meet all sorts of different people there. Does anybody want to ask questions of these particular employers? And if you do, I think probably the best thing is to go into the little reactions thing and raise your hand. Just put the hand up and I'll see if I can spot anyone. If you don't, that's okay. I know it's quite daunting in front of such a lot of people, and it's not for everyone to ask questions. You can put questions in the chat as well, so we will look out for that and ask your question on your behalf if you don't want to ask. But I think I saw Finn. Did you have your hand up, or were you just trying?
Yeah, I did. Thanks, Tracy.
Do you want to ask your question then?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Catherine. I'd just like to ask, so what, in terms of day-to-day activities, what would the digital marketing and communications assistant, what would they be sort of doing on an average day?
That's great question, Finn. And I know it's quite a catch-all thing, isn't it? We've got sort of support in there for events, marketing and communications. I suppose our main one piece that we'd definitely be wanting support with is around the social media. So our sort of main social media platforms are Twitter and LinkedIn. So that'd be working with on the strategy for that with our communications manager. We run a number of events ourselves through the membership. So whether they're hour long or hour and a half information giving sessions like these, or longer workshops, so we'd need help, or there'd be parts of that would be supporting in the setup of those events, communications with attendees, actually supporting on the events themselves. So there's all that kind of stuff. Because there's so much information online and so much coming through our websites, there'd be a piece around supporting and updating on the website. So skills around that would be really useful. I can't think of other things right now. We have our long list that's on there, but yeah, those sorts of things. So I think some of our main other areas, anything around sort of creativity on things like Canva, that would all be really, really good stuff. Campaign monitor kind of things too. That's those sorts of areas. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Finn. I did get a question posted to me, which was, sounds very exciting, and how do we apply? Which is a killer question, isn't it? And so this goes for everything, the jobs that we haven't covered yet. But first thing to do is to have a chat with your work coach or advisor in the job centre. So whoever your person is, you need to tell them that you want to apply for a Kickstart job, and there is a process where they can refer you, and it gives us your name and it gives us a number. And that tells us that you want to be referred, that you're thinking of applying, and then you follow it up with a CV, and you send the CV to us at Transform Lives, and we're going to give you all this information, and it's on the website as well. Okay, so it's quite straightforward how to apply, and then the employers will decide who they want to see, and hopefully most people will get an interview, unless somebody ends up with 30 applicants. Obviously then that's up to the employer to decide how they want to handle that, but we'll keep you informed of how that's going. So you'll start to get to know us quite well. Myself, Adam, where's he disappeared to? Adam's on here somewhere, and Charlie McDonald. So we're all in Transform Lives company, and we're handling all the jobs, and we're looking after all the employers, and we're looking after all the applicants as well. And then afterwards, those people that do get taken on, we'll be in touch with you throughout the whole job, and we'll be helping you with some other things that I'll tell you about as well. Okay, so you won't be left on your own. We'll be helping you with some more coaching, and we'll be helping you with applying for the job that comes after this job, because this job will only be for 6 months. So if that'll go in a flash, It might feel like you've got forever to start with, but believe you me, it won't. And so in a few months' time, we don't want you to be panicking. We want you to be in a really good place to start to think about what comes next. And that's what we'll be doing with you as well. And that's the sort of area of expertise that we have. Okay, so I want us to, we can come back to some of these questions, but let's move on. Let me just check there's no hands. No hands. So let's move on to the next 4 employers. And we're going to start with Greg from Matchstick Creative with his incredible, awesome beard.
Thank you.
And hat.
Yeah,
that's
just because
big
I'm
introduction there.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll post a link to the website just in the chat there. But we're Matchstick Creative, so we're a digital marketing and creative agency based in Liverpool. I'm not sure how much that makes a difference right at the moment with with everything that's going on, but we are usually in the Women's Org building in the Baltic, if anyone's familiar with that. If once we're allowed out and about. And basically we're involved with sort of creating brands and content and messaging. And then we also do a lot around sort of business and organization kind of problem solving. And that's all within the sort of wrapped up in user experience, but it's essentially the understanding that there are people involved in all of these kind of things that we're doing. So we're really focused on sort of understanding, I guess, sort of who who's out there, sort of who our audience is, who our clients' audiences might be, and all of that sort of thing. So just very kind of human-centered in that sort of sense. So we do a lot of kind of digital marketing, so things on social media, a lot of content creation, and that might be in terms of kind of promotional kind of assets to go on social media. So you might sort of use Canva or some of the kind of Adobe kind of software products, but we also sort of try and do a lot around strategy and understand what kind of people are trying to achieve. So in a way, it's less about the kind of technical skills and more understanding sort of who we're dealing with, and we sort of refocus the organization to look at kind of companies or kind of charities or social enterprises, so things with sort of social impact. So we do a lot within tech for good and profit for purpose, those kinds of things where they might not be strictly charities, but they're doing something that has social impact, as well as other things in the third sector. So normal, what you might think of it more as normal kind of charities, and then things like the NHS and sort of social care and that kind of thing. We've got 2 roles coming up, which are content and social media executive and a graphic designer. And so the content and social media executive, there's probably in a way a bit of a crossover with social value with the role that Catherine is offering, and that is all to do with kind of say setting up social media campaigns, being part of the creative process with that, writing content. We'll do a lot of sort of generating content for people, so we'll try and understand sort of what the purpose is and the business goals, and then we'll create content around that and understand how best to do that. So there might be scripts for videos, there might be sort of various campaigns on social media, and we'll sort of dig into that sort of world. And then from the graphic design role kind of perspective, we do a lot of, as I said there, we do a lot of social media campaigns, but we also do a lot about content creation for websites, and we design and develop websites and apps too. So in terms of the graphic design role, there might be a leaning towards say, sort of web and application design in some forms, but also sort of support. We do a lot of brand creation and identity work. So we'll do kind of develop new brands. And so part of that is stuff like, you know, the logo and the color palette and that type of thing, the general kind of look and feel, as well as the tone of voice and the messaging. So we'll be looking at ways to kind of apply the brand to things. So from a graphic design perspective, you might be taking brand guidelines and as a lead, and then creating assets for social media. And by assets, I mean things like, it could be promotional banners or adverts, that type of thing. But it could also be kind of sort of snappy content and that type of thing. So some, you know, it might be sort of messaging like strap lines and that sort of world. And then in terms of the way we work, we've done a few things in this type of world before, where effectively we've taken some people on in perhaps a part-time role or a supported role, and then developed that into either a full-time or part-time position at the end of the 6 months and that kind of thing. So we're very keen to sort of try and develop careers, really, rather than just sort of see this as like a 6-month job. We're all from a background where we might not have seen sort of people like ourselves successfully sort of getting jobs and feeling like people who, you know, either from our backgrounds or look like us are doing this kind of work. So perhaps there's a sort of slant that we might not be the traditional route for things, and we want to try and create kind of safe spaces to basically to encourage and empower people, you know, that there are things that you can do. And we do monthly PDPs with everyone, and that like a sort of step where we check in and we sort of set goals for each other and address any kind of questions that are coming up and recognize any sort of training opportunities and that type of thing. One of the things that we're doing at the moment is we've just yesterday we started the first public event around it's basically better business networking. So this sort of idea of bringing sort of diversity and sort of different voices into networking. So rather than the typical kind of idea of a, you know, stereotypical kind of businessman in a suit and that world, it's like, you know, recognizing that actually we should be having better conversations. We do a lot around collaboration. So we quite often work with other teams, other organizations, and that's kind of the spirit of where we're coming from, really. One of our values is collaboration over competition. So we think we can do better work overall if we're working people who are good at what they do. And so I think in terms of the general sort of approach to everything, another one of our values is improvement over perfection. So we're never expecting anyone to sort of know all the ins and outs of everything. You know, you can learn skills, we can help sort of train people. The more important thing is sort of shared values and enthusiasm for these kinds of roles. So the idea of, you know, kind of writing content or you know, developing brands within sort of brands that you know, have some social purpose. So as I said, that could be like the NHS, but it can also be kind of social enterprises and that kind of thing. A lot of what we might do is sort of around workshops and networking. We do sort of training and webinars as well, but we also do kind of developing strategies and those kinds of things. At the moment, obviously, a lot of that is done remotely. We do kind of virtual workshops with people, but as soon as we can get back in the office, we'd like to.
Yeah.
So
we all?
yes.
We're all desperate.
And I think that's probably a good round up there.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's such a great company. They're creative. It goes without saying, but they are. I'm going to bring in Chris from Splinter in a similar vein, I think. Chris, do you want to tell us about what you do?
Hi there, everyone. I'm Chris. I work at Splinter. Splinter are a animation illustration digital design / branding company based in Liverpool. We're nearly 25 years old. The kind of work we do, it splits into two areas, really. We produce educational animations and games mostly at a younger child audience up to the age of 11, but not exclusively. For people such as the BBC are a big client of ours, whether that be us producing our own content. So for instance, recently we've done some games based on the ancient Greeks and one on dinosaurs, which was great fun. Or sometimes we can do work using existing BBC brands such as Octonauts or Hey Dougie. We also do similar kind of educational work for universities, councils. We've done quite a lot in the heritage and conservation space. So that's one of the areas of work we do. The other areas we actually work for some bigger businesses as well, doing internal training and campaign materials. So organizations such as Unilever or Barclays. And when we get the chance and any bit of time, we also like to try and do our own self-initiated work. So at the moment, we're just trying to develop some language animations based on monsters. So the position we are looking to fill is for a junior to support the senior designers to design and illustrate and composite the constituent elements that go into that kind of work. And the kind of things you might be doing are, you might be contributing to storyboards, maybe Photoshop work on supporting elements. Sometimes we do work within PowerPoint. Sounds terrible, but you know, it's not, it can be quite fun as well. And also to help us with material for websites and social media campaigns. And that includes our own social media presence, as we often don't get time to do it properly ourselves because we're busy. What do you need to be able to do? Well, we produce our work with software which includes things like Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, and then also Microsoft-based packages. A basic knowledge, at least, of what these things do would be helpful, and any other skills such as animation skills, drawing skills, things like knowledge of Adobe After Effects would be great and useful. Finally, we're a relatively small team and all quite close-knit, so the person would need to be able to contribute to creative sessions that we run. And that's, in summary, that's our position.
Fantastic. Sounds amazing. I'm going to move on because I'm conscious of time. So Ivy from Cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Are you there, Ivy?
Oh yeah, it's actually eBay. I know it looks
eBay.
like I, and everyone does get it wrong. So
I'm sorry.
I won't hold it against you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, but it's good to know. So eBay, over to you and the exciting jobs you've got.
Yeah. Think of the website eBay. The
eBay. I was just thinking that, but
I had it first actually. Anyway. So my name's eBay Hater, and I'm the manager at Cycle of Life. We're part of a larger regional charity. And the Cycle of Life project and company is coming at a really interesting time. Before lockdown, just an interesting statistic, we had in the Netherlands, which is the cycling capital, you could say, of Europe, 30% of journeys were made by cycle or by bike. Commuting journeys, whereas in the UK, it's only 2%. But since lockdown in Liverpool, in the Liverpool City region, we've seen a 222% increase in cycling, which is the biggest increase in the country. Now, I don't know if that's because nobody was cycling in Liverpool before that, or just the fact that everybody's just decided to get on their bike. But it's really exciting times. And it's really interesting to look at the other companies and the other businesses who are here today. And it's interesting for me to see, all the different stuff that's going on in the city. It's really exciting. And I'll probably be having a few conversations after this as well with some of them. So more about the Cycle of Life. We're based in Liverpool 8, but we have a regional focus. So we're not just focusing on our own area, but we hope that the ripples of what we're doing travels across the region. Our aim is to get more people cycling and to remove the barriers that prevent people from cycling. So these barriers can include things like, I'm scared to go on the road, I'm scared about getting my bike nicked, I'm scared about getting sweaty when I go to work. There's all kinds of reasons why people don't cycle at the moment. And all our projects are aimed at increasing the amount of people who choose cycling or other forms of active travel, as opposed to taking a taxi or a car, or going by public transport. So there's lots of benefits in cycling. It's good for mental health. It's good for saves a lot of money when you go by cycle. It's good for your health and well-being as well. And you get to discover lots of places around the city. So our projects include and involve a cycle hub, which we deliver training, whether that's people learning how to maintain their bikes, how to cycle safely on the road. We also we have a small cycle shop and a cafe will be opening soon as well. And most of our work is based at the Cumber Amani Centre in Liverpool 8, but we do have other venues as well. What we're looking for in terms of training up and developing somebody's skills as an assistant employee is, one of them is an admin assistant. So the administrator would be involved in the typical admin tasks of filing and photocopying, adding information onto databases, making contact with people by email. So it's important that someone has, a decent level of grammar and English in this role. But in terms of development, we're very keen on investing in our employees and investing in our young people. So we're very keen to help develop someone's skills, and we will do an audit and speak with each individual on how they want to develop their skills and how we can support them to develop their CV. And potentially we'd like to think that in the future we'd be able to take some of our Kickstart applicants on in the future. There's no guarantee, of course, but as we grow, we'd like all our employees to grow as well. The other role is with a cycle maintenance assistant, and that will involve, we've got a fleet of bikes, we've got a few fleets of bikes, so that will involve refurbishing, maintaining our bikes. We get a lot of donations as well. We actually give a lot of bikes away to NHS and other key workers. So one of our projects involves making sure that these bikes are up to scratch. Again, the person who's the assistant will be supporting a trained mechanic. And it doesn't mean you have to be a mechanic yourself, but we'd like to hope that it's somebody who has got an interest in bikes. And the other role is as a project development assistant, and that'll involve helping us developing some of our new projects. We're getting new projects in all the time. There's a big demand we're getting at the moment. We work with schools, we work with housing associations, we work even with nurseries with our Balanced Ability programme. So we've all kinds of programs taking place, which we're developing relationships and networking and applying for funds, bid writing. So this person would be involved in these projects and developing their skills in this area. So I'll stop waffling now. I think I've gone over the 2 minutes.
You weren't, no, it's brilliant. You weren't waffling at all. It's dead interesting, and everything's so different, which is, something to appeal to everybody, really. Thanks, eBay. And so now we've just done another Catherine from Truman Change.
Hi.
I can't see you, sorry.
Oh, can you not?
Oh, I can now. Okay, over to you. Last but not least.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine from Truman Change. So Truman Change are a project management, change management consultancy. So we work with organisations across the UK They could be local councils, they could be NHS, they could be private sector businesses, anyone that is making a change happen, which in COVID time is everyone. So we're busy at the moment. And our goal is to help them make that change better for their organisation, for the well-being of their staff. But that's probably not what you're going to be interested in. So I'll talk more specifically about the role, which is a business development assistant. So that is helping us actually with our marketing, with our social media, managing our events, and it's supporting me. So I started the company in November last year, working around business development. So my background is marketing. And it's a really exciting time to be part of the company because we're a company of 4 people, so we're a small team. We're all really friendly. We all work from home from different parts in the country, and this role is remote working, so it is working from home even after COVID. So please do factor that in and think about whether that's something that you would like or not like, because obviously you do have to be self-motivated. If you're, lots of distractions at home, Netflix and the like. So we do need someone that would be able to be disciplined enough to turn on the laptop and do the work. Having said that, we're a really flexible company. So it's 25 hours, but when you do those hours, could be negotiated. So that might be over mornings, it might be certain days of the week. That's something we can discuss. One of the main benefits, I would say, of working for Truman Change is that flexibility and support. We're a values-based company, and so what that means is attitude is what we look for. So if you're worried you don't have the skills or experience, then don't let that put you off applying to this role, because we're looking for, do you have the right attitude? Do you want to help people? Our actual values are to get it done. So we don't, don't procrastinate, get the work done when it needs to get done. Always trying to get it right and make it better. So, we're always looking to improve and learn. So definitely if you like learning and like always doing your best, then this is the kind of role for you. Day-to-day wise, the job tasks, we run a series of online webinars and events, so helping us organise them, helping us with the content on our website, content across LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So if you like social media, brilliant. There's all sorts of admin type tasks as well. Training will be provided. You'll get all the support you need. There won't be a more supportive company than this. So it really is about, do you have the right attitude? Are you interested in learning? And at the end of the Kickstart campaign, we really do hope that this will be a permanent role if everything goes well. The other thing just to quickly mention is that it's national living wage, not minimum wage for this role. So that might be a bonus to you. So some of the skills we might look for you to have, like I say, we'll give you all the training you need, but if you're organised, if you're an organised person, that'll be brilliant. If you've used Microsoft Office and you're handy on emails and social media, that'd be brilliant. If you are comfortable on video calls like that, that would be great. Obviously, you'll get more comfortable the more you do it, but we work virtually, as I said, with companies across the UK. So it's really important that you're willing to be on video like this. Yeah, I think that's it. Otherwise, I would say we're really open-minded and really looking to support the individual to grow. So it's a great opportunity for anyone that's really wanting to kickstart a career.
Fantastic. Thanks, Catherine. And I can vouch for, well, all of the companies, obviously, but I've known Truman Change and Lucy, the founder, for a few years. And definitely what Catherine's saying in terms of being genuinely good people, they certainly are. I want to just mention that there are some jobs or employees that aren't here, as I said at the beginning, and I'm just going to make sure you don't forget about them as well. One of those is with the Heritage International Language School, which is in Toxteth, and that's a social media kind of role as well, around communications and Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and really upping their game around that kind of thing. So they're a language school. There is also a few jobs at something called the Unity. Bear with me, I'm trying to find it on our website. Unity Community Association. They've got a number of jobs, so I just encourage you to look at the website. One is a caretaker, and one of them is around working with children that are accessing their services. So there's a variety of different jobs there. And there's also a job as a forest school trainee at Grow Wellbeing. And there is another job with a company called Bridge 2, and that's a project assistant, and that's working with asylum seekers in the city. That's in Liverpool as well. So there are still, you know, a number of other jobs other than the ones that you've met through these 8 companies. So we've come to the end of that kind of input from businesses. I was alerted to the fact that I overlooked questions from a couple of people. One was from Tony, and I think he's on here as Tony's iPhone, and also from Robert. So if either of you still want to ask a question, just raise your hand or unmute yourself. Yeah, Robert, I did see your hand that time. Just unmute yourself and then fire away.
Hi, Greg. I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Are you like on content creation, and is that what sort of role it is?
Which are you after, the social media and content exec? Is that what you're talking about?
More of a graphics design.
Yeah. Well, as a company, we do the kind of those 3 main areas of what we look at. So content, identity, and experience. So the kind of it's often to do with like starting out. If there's a brand existing, then we might just work with what they've got. If that doesn't exist yet, we're involved with sort of creating that, setting up kind of the things that sort of factor into like creating an identity and having a personality for that brand and how to handle all the messaging and that side of it. And then we develop that into content creation. So some of it will be kind of around sort of brainstorming ideas. We do a lot of workshops internally as well as with clients to do kind of co-creation. And so, yeah, I mean, basically a lot of it might involve kind of content creation from kind of writing articles and research and that type of thing. It might be around applying kind of tone of voice to sort of promotional activity. And it might be sort of things like creating, perhaps if you're interested in sort of doing short kind of animations for social media or something like that, you know, that's the kind of thing that we could do. And then other than that, there's website sort of design and development. So you might do sort of prototyping and that kind of thing. If you've ever done anything like that, well, we'll do like a mock-up of a website or a phone app or something like that. And the idea of it is you don't necessarily need any programming background, but it's to kind of you know, to work through kind of what people might want or how they might use something before we invest in, or the organization invests in programming and that side of it. So there's kind of those 3 sort of main strands to it, and then we do sort of our own internal projects as well. So, you know, some of the things might be creating some posters for the office, or, you know, some of the events that we're running and that type of thing.
Do you also, what's the hours of it as well, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, no, it's fine. Initially, it would be the 25 hours. And in terms of the way that we do that, I think like probably a few of these places, we're quite flexible. We've always sort of offered flexible working anyway, aside from COVID. And so I think we tend to prefer agreeing a schedule, but outside of that, we're quite open to what that looks like. So it could be that, say it was 25 hours, it's 5 hours a day, or it could be that we do that, say, over 3 days. So quite a few times we've sort of started people out on, say, 3 days a week, and they might, say, do Monday, Tuesday and Thursday, for instance, and do it that way. But basically, you know, within the realms of kind of, say, between 8 and 6 or something like that. We're quite flexible about what the hours could be, really.
Okay, no problem. Would there be an easier way to contact you if I'm interested?
I think with this, you basically have to go through to be eligible for the scheme. You have to go through that sort of process.
Okay.
But yeah, but feel free to email us anyway. You can email me, and I'll pop my email up there if anyone wants to email me. Greg at matchstickcreative.co.uk. And we'll be happy to sort of answer. And it's Ruth who is our founder, who sort of handles the content sort of side of the business. My background's more in the experience and website sort of side of it, but the role would be supporting across those areas.
Okay, thank you.
We'll remind everybody how to apply before everybody goes today, as well. Tony, did you want to ask?
Yeah, I did. Sorry, I've been having some computer troubles. I swear I've had to use my phone for this.
Know the feeling, mate. It's terrible, isn't it? Go on.
Yeah, very. It's made a job seeking a lot harder. I can tell you that.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So my question isn't for a specific employer. It's just generic for all, really. It's about qualifications. So I understand that a lot of the roles are creative, and so those qualifications are more hard to come by. And I know that. I believe it was Chris who mentioned that it's, although it's not necessary, but he would like someone who's had work in Photoshop. Do any other employees have those specific qualifications and/or criteria to meet for the application?
Yeah. So all the employees are different, obviously, because you can tell that they're vastly ranging from being in the environment, working with children, right through to working on like digital and tech platforms. So I just encourage you to go to our website page where all the jobs are listed, and if you click on each one, you can see what the employer is looking for. So then they'll say, you need to have been able to do these things. So if you've never worked on any digital platforms, you're probably going to struggle to slot into one of these jobs. But if you've done a bit of it, I mean, nobody is asking for, a master's degree, a degree, or anything like this.
Yeah.
So we've tried to be sensible and tried to make all the jobs as accessible as we possibly can, without setting people up to fail and come into a job that they're literally like starting from scratch, So, but they're all different. Have a look on the page, and if you're not sure, you can get hold of me or Adam. Particularly, either of us do at any time, and we'll talk you through. Okay. So consider now, you know us now. So if you've got any questions like that, and it relates to a particular employer, don't hesitate to drop us a quick email and get in touch, and we'll help you out as much as we can. Look on the website and check out what we've put on there, and that's come directly from the employer. Each one has kind of written what they think somebody would need, and then also you can speak to your work coach in the job centre and talk it through there as well. You've got a number of options, but don't let something put you off. If you think you're there or thereabouts, don't let it put you off, because the whole point is that we know you haven't done this job before. That's why the job exists. It's to get you into this job, this kind of job. So that's the whole point of Kickstart, isn't it? It's to give you that level playing field when there aren't that many jobs around, if that makes sense. So
yeah, understandable. Thank you very much, Tracy.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tony. Anybody else got a question or comment? I'm just hoping that I obviously missed hands before, so they don't know, but I'm looking at Charlie and Adam. Just tell me whether I've missed anyone or any chat. Looks like everyone's okay. Yeah. So I'm really hopeful to see a lot of you again. And obviously I want you to not forget that there are more jobs coming as well. So there are these jobs you've heard of. There's the employers that couldn't make it today. There's those jobs. Check out the website. Also in the future, because more jobs will be going up in about a month's time of jobs that are already approved. But also there will be lots of other Kickstart jobs all around the area moving forward. So there's lots of other jobs. We've got about 50 jobs altogether to start with, but there'll be other ones. So don't give up hope. If you've not heard of something today that really kind of resonates with you and you think that's not really for me, it wasn't what I was hoping, or it wasn't what I was looking for, there's more jobs around generally. And so again, that's why you need to talk to your job centre work coach about those different jobs. I'm being told that Usama has raised his hand, is that right?
Hello, yes. You said on the website, but when you go on the Kickstart website, I don't know if I'm doing this correctly or not. See, when you go on the Kickstart website, it says add role. How do I apply for a job, or do I just go to my job centre coach?
Say that again. If you apply for the job,
do I apply for the job on the website, or do I ask my job centre coach?
Can I just come in there? Sorry, it's Jane. I work in the job centre.
Hi, thanks, Jane.
Hiya, I'm one of the partnership managers in the job centre. Do you know what? We really want to encourage people to speak to the work coach, just to make sure that you've got all the details and that we can monitor and follow things up for you. So, you know, how are you registered? Obviously, you're on Universal Credit and you have a work coach. Yeah. Okay, anybody who's on, I would suggest just speak to your work coach about the vacancies, and we can make sure that they're followed up for you. You know, what we don't want to do, I know this won't happen with Tracy's company, that you're sending lots of CVs out and obviously you're not hearing anything, or you're wondering why you didn't get the job. Your work coach can talk with you around anything that you might need to improve on, to maybe change and make sure that you get the positions that you're going for. Tracy, this has been absolutely brilliant today. Thank you. It's been really lovely to see what's going on in the area. And I know we're looking at trying to do this, even if it's not every month, every couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we know
thanks.
Coming through.
Thanks to you, Jane, as well, for helping getting us to
no, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, you know, this is what we want. We want everybody to be dialing in. We want you young people to pass the word to your friends who are claiming benefits. Let's get them on these and meet these employers every month. And then hopefully, you know, as many as young people as we can, let's get into work locally and fill all these fabulous vacancies. But thanks again, Tracy, for all your help.
Yeah. So before everybody goes, I know people are needing to go, and we've already been on here for just over an hour. But Jane's quite right. So, you know, if you don't know who your work coach is, or you've not had any contact recently with anyone, again, we're more than happy to chat to you and just to work things out with you and make sure that you're not kind of floundering, wondering what to do next. If you do know who your work coach is, make sure you're now kind of keeping in touch with them regularly. There's, in terms of what we do at Transform Lives, we are creating these jobs with employers on an ongoing basis now. So there'll be more coming, some that we've got approved and some that we're just in the pipeline, and we're hoping to bring those forward in the next couple of months. But there's also other things. So if you've heard this today and you've got other things going on in your life, you've got other problems, or you just want to maybe get a little bit of other kinds of support, there's lots of other things available, you know, and there's things that we are doing all the time. So, you know, I would still encourage you to get in touch with us. If you just think, do you know what, I just need a little chat with someone, I need a little bit of advice. It might not be about applying for a job. It might just be more generally that you're out of work and there's other stuff and you need help. Then we are here. We're working with people all the time, and we know it's not easy. And we're a really nice bunch, and we're dead normal usually.
They are.
And we generally can figure something out and give you a good pointer as to what you might be able to do. So, you know, bear us in mind for other things as well. And you would be working with someone like Charlie, who's on the call. She can give us a quick little wave with her hand. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's everything. So we definitely, oh, eBay has raised his hand, has he? Oh, yes. These funny little blue hands in the corner, I'm not used to. I'm used to these bright yellow ones. That's my problem I've been looking for. eBay?
Yeah, sorry, I just had a quick question. It was just, it's more to Jane, really. Would young people who don't have a laptop and they're applying for some of these roles, I'm just thinking because it might be a barrier to working from home. Is that something that the job centre, the DWP, can support? I'm just asking. I don't know if this is the right forum to ask.
Yeah, do you know what, eBay? We can actually speak to people on an individual basis, and we can look at individual support. Yes, we have in the past, and we would look at everybody's individual circumstances. What I would say to you is, if any of your people haven't got a work coach that they're working with at the moment, if you can liaise with Tracy will liaise with me, and I will be kind of the person to try and find you a work coach to have those conversations with. It's something we have done in the past. Obviously, we want everybody to have equal chance of getting any of the vacancies, but it's not a carte blanche. We have to look at the person's individual circumstances and the barriers that they're individually facing. But I would say, obviously, we never say never. So please, if you haven't got a work coach, go to Tracy. She'll contact me and we will make sure that you get to speak to a work coach or myself.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So if in doubt, just shout and ask. Yeah. And one of us will work something out if we can. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend a bit of time with you all this afternoon. Yeah. And I hope that something today has sparked some interest and sounds like a good avenue for you to look at in terms of a job. And good luck with everything. And I hope to see CVs flooding in at some point.
I'm sure you will. I am sure you will.
Yeah. And as Jane said, if you know other people of the same age who were also, you know, stuck, then let us know. Equally, if you know other older people who are unemployed and that they can't get Kickstart, but they can come and get some other kinds of help from us, we'd also like to hear from them too. So, okay. If that's it from everybody, I'd like to just thank all the businesses for coming today. And thanks for creating the jobs in the first place. Thanks for partnering with us on all of this. And yeah, hope you have a nice evening and to hear from you soon.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks
everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Nice evening.
Thank
you.
Thanks, Tracy. See ya.
Cheers. Thanks, Eday. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Tracy.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Tracy.
Cheers. Thanks, Chris. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.